So I was officiating a funeral of a 90-year-old Holocaust survivor. And after the funeral ends, I'm walking through the cemetery with her husband. Her husband was probably like 94, 95 years old. And as we're walking, he eventually stops me. I look at him in his eyes, and if you could just imagine his face, kind of like old withered face, glossy eyes, old European accent. And he says to me, "Look around." And I look around the cemetery and I see all the grave sites and all the headstones. And he says to me, "Before the war, my family was in the construction business. We were builders. When the war broke out, Hitler took us. He brought us to a local cemetery and he had us dismantle every single one of the headstones of this Jewish cemetery and then transport them to the local concentration camp to build roads into the camps." And I just stood there looking at him in his eyes, trying to process what he just told me. And I thought to myself, Hitler looked at every single one of us. And he looked at our background. He looked at what we did for a living. He looked at our skills. And he figured out, what are your strengths? What are your talents? What do you do for a living? Are you a shoemaker? Are you a leather maker? Are you in the silver gold business? Are you a writer? Are you a singer? What are you? What are your strengths? And now that I know what they are, how can I use them to destroy you? He used our strengths. He figured out what we were good at, every single one of us, and then used it to destroy us. And I thought to myself, how many of us walk around and we ponder, what are my strengths? What am I good at? What are my skills? What are my talents? And sometimes it's hard for us to figure out. But I thought to myself, if Hitler can look at every single one of us and he could figure out what are your strengths and how can I use them to destroy you, then can we at least look at ourselves and find one strength, one talent, one skill, and ask ourselves the question, how can I use it to build myself, to build my family, to build the Jewish people, to build this world? If he could figure out our skills to destroy, can we figure out one talent, one skill to build, to make the Jewish people in this world even better, to fulfill what the Almighty wants from us in this world? I ask you that one question. Ask yourself, what's one skill I have? And how can I use it to strengthen the Jewish people, to strengthen my family, to strengthen myself, but to do something for this world? I want to thank you all for listening. I know it's a heavy message.